We have some new talent.
Yay.
Okay, I'll check back in a minute or two.
Okay, great.
We have some new talent.
We are now
Yay.
live on
Okay, I'll check back in a minute or two.
okay, great. Oh,
Hey there, Blair.
hi there. How are you?
I am running, but I am well. Hey,
If
Leslie, Happy New Year.
I usually let that run in the background, um, I clicked off on it. I was hoping, actually, Colin, I was hoping you could check in and make sure that it's going on YouTube. Sorry. Just
It looks as though it is, yes.
okay, good.
Hey, Jane, good to see you.
Hi,
Briefly.
I am not 100%, so if you will, I will probably be off camera most of the evening, but I will be listening in and I will chime in when I have something lovely to say.
Okay.
Besides,
All
I'm
right.
registered for your workshop. Thank you very much for the invite.
Oh, good, good, good. So that's, I know that I have at least two people in for sure.
Do you want me to register or just show up?
Registrations would be reasonable and nice, but yeah.
Okay, well, if I can figure
It
out how to
helps
do that, I will do it.
count of who's actually showing up.
Okay.
That's what's going on.
Shane, it's so good to see you. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone.
And Jeremy, if you're listening, glad to have you here. Colin, it's good to see you.
How's
Hey.
everybody doing?
Shannon's working late, so I don't know if we'll see her or not tonight.
So Jackie is out and about.
Hey, Jackie,
Hi. Hi, guys. Happy
where
New
are
Year.
you? Where are
Come
you?
here. Hang on. Just check it out.
Beautiful.
You're in Colombia?
Yeah, in a place called Medellin.
Medellin, yes.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
amazing here. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
have
I'm
deep
gonna sign
friends.
out. I'm just gonna go offline and let you guys get started, and then I'll get back to you guys.
Love
Hey,
it.
Jackie,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
there I put the challenge connection in the chat here. So if anybody there would be
Oh,
interested
okay,
in
lovely.
joining the
Okay.
chat, the challenge there, the 5-day challenge, just so that you
I
know.
will. I'll check that out.
Okay, great. 2 seconds. I just got to grab my notes here. There we go.
Okay.
I'm back. Mhm.
All righty then. There, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, we might as well. We are live on YouTube, and so we can get going. So, Colin, would you like to kick us off with an intro?
I would be happy to. Welcome, everyone, to the 326th episode of the Blair Dunkley Experience, where we discuss mind models. Mind models are a collection of extensively tested thought frameworks, skills, and behaviors that enable people to transform their lives intentionally. Your host for this evening is Blair Dunkley, the creator of Mind Models. The BDE is Blair's free gift to you and is an opportunity to learn, experience, and practice mind models in a safe, real-world environment. My name is Colin Jewett, along with your co-hosts and certified mind model coaches, usually Tim and Becky Graff. I don't actually see them here tonight. I don't know if they'll be joining us. And the
They're
amazing
on the
Patty
road, so
McClure.
it's kind of iffy
Okay.
as to whether or not they'll be with
Yeah.
us.
All right. Well,
Exactly.
we might see them driving by at some point. Anyway, mind models have helped me personally eliminate lifelong social anxiety in a matter of weeks, dramatically reduce my chronic stress, and improve my sleep when nothing else seemed to be working consistently. All of this without traditional counseling, medication, or significant changes in my life circumstances. Beyond that, mind models are continuously improving my effectiveness as a coach and a trainer and my personal and professional communication skills. So I'm very thankful for that. We look forward to learning together with you tonight. Welcome to the BDE.
Thanks, Colin. Blair, would you like to talk a little bit about the challenge that you were referring to? Because you put a link
Sure.
in there. People might not know what that is. And then the trainings, the various trainings that are coming up.
Exactly. Well, if you guys care to join, I'm offering a 5-day business challenge starting on January 20th and going through the 24th. And it looks like Shane might actually have that. Whoa, I did, and he hit a 404 on there. That's not good. Oh, he refreshed. Okay, so anyway, whatever. Bottom line here is I'm going to be going through some fundamentals of mind models, but mind models geared towards business and how to shift how you're thinking, because I've done a lot of coaching people into shifting how they think and being able to have very significant breakthroughs, not only in their life, but in their business as well. In fact, I was working with a business person today and going through some stuff, another 10 out of 10 session where he couldn't believe that just tweaking these, how he's thinking, A, relieved stress, and B, gave him action items that he could get in and do so easily and potentially effectively. However, even though these things are incredibly simple, they do take practice and they don't work by themselves. If you know what to do, that's one thing. As with mindset, you may be told what to do and what to believe, but if you don't know how to do it, you don't get the change you're looking for in your life. So it's all about changing behaviors, because behaviors are the core that change absolutely everything. So join me on January 20th through 24th and come in. And if you're interested in Mind Model Method Coach training or IBC, I'm offering a combined program here coming up in February, starting February 12th. And that will be announced during the 5-day challenge. But yeah, and just have that working and going. So, hey, Brent, you're one of the people that I've been thinking about here a lot, making sure that I have something, hopefully. The 5-day challenge, if you came in, you could join. It's free to join. And if you want VIP, it's $47. It's not expensive. And we're going to be doing a lot of real world work in there. Only an hour if you're in the challenge, and VIP is an hour where you can ask and I can deal with you guys directly, the people that are in the VIP. That's it for 5 days. Anyway, that's it for me.
Just
If
a
you have
little
more
postscript.
information,
Yeah, just a little postscript for Blair. The IBC stands for Ignite the Buying Conversation, and
thank
it
you.
specifically revolves around business, especially closing sales.
Oh, wow. Yes, it is. And by the way, thank you, Leslie, for signing up and booked in the VIP as well. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. That's going to be fun to have you on board. So,
Okay, so are we ready to get started then with the real stuff? All the
betcha.
announcements? Anybody have anything else? Brent, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. I'm glad you made it tonight.
Yep.
So we are looking at starting off the new year with effective intentions. So my question tonight is, what effective behaviors do you plan to carry into 2025? Brent, would you like to start us out?
Uh, can you go like
You want me
maybe
to
not?
come back to you?
Yeah, I'm just starting in the setup here too. So yes,
Okay. Yeah,
please.
no worries. How about you, Jeremy? What effective behaviors do you plan to carry into 2025?
I've been going to the gym pretty steadily since December. I do get on good nights about 8 hours of sleep. I have been paying more attention and actively doing more trading. I believe I'm going to start putting in more rings and more attention to the rings on my activity counter on my Apple Watch. I started reading again, as a matter of fact. We can tell them later, but I read this book this weekend. I can't see it because
What
of
is
the
that
blur.
one?
Oh,
Oh,
This is
Swept
Blair.
Away.
Oh, Swept Away. That's Tim and Becky's book. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, so a number of things. And I don't feel like they were consciously chosen as resolutions. They're just things that kind of naturally have come my way because of my desire to make some of those things happen. And yeah, anyway, I don't remember what the question was. I'm sorry. I
No
digress.
worries. But that you bring up something really interesting, which is the word resolutions. And people frequently don't keep resolutions even past a week. Blair, would you like to talk about what is the difference between resolutions and identifying effective behaviors and intentions?
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in goals and results.
Yeah, that would be great.
Almost
Thank you.
everybody, I a long time ago now, like 20 plus years ago, I did a study in one of my major clients. And they talked about making the start of a year, the prior year, or in a business year. The owner of the business actually hired a consulting firm, one of the majors, and asked them to come up with the board 15 key things that they wanted to improve on. And they called them goals, but they wanted them to use SMART goals. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, uh, realistic, and timely. That was their acronym from one of the MBA programs. They only completed a year later, they had only actually mostly did 5 out of the 15. And so the owner was talking to me and saying, how come we aren't able to actually complete the rest and do this? And so he threw the book of things at me and said, Blair, could you go through these? And I did. It was basically $150,000 worth of money, and they only got 5 of them done. And they were supposed to come with these SMART goals. And SMART goals, going through them, became very clear that you couldn't do them. It became specific. I added an S to it, so they're S smart, and changed some of them around because when you read them, the they were specific, but they were not simple. So you had to have a lot of very specific information. And I'm going to hit resolutions in a second because resolutions are not much more than I resolve to do this. Well, whatever that is, can you actually do it? Do you have the skills embodied in you that you can execute on those things? Or do you have to learn how to do something before you can literally execute? So again, it comes down to simple, specific things. So 2 S's. Measurable works. Is it measurable? Is it externally verifiable? Great. What they were. But realistic is one of the things that I wound up talking with one of my business clients earlier today. And realistic is one of those things that go, when we set our New Year's resolutions, we think we're being realistic. And you may well be, but is it reasonable? Can you fit this in? If, the reasonable man theory is, if a reasonable man other than you were looked at you and said, is what you're doing reasonable? Is it reasonable to attempt this thing? And whatever that thing is, because the numbers on getting people to actually complete both goals or resolutions is way, way low. Like well below, not even close to 50%, by the way. It somewhere between 5 and 15%, depending on the person. So goal setting doesn't work well. Most people don't complete goals. They don't complete resolutions, and they're not reasonable. They're just realistic. And so if you shift things to reasonable, so measurable, we've got measurable, action oriented needs to be there, rather than, I forget, sorry, what the other one was.
Attainable?
Attainable. Is it attainable? Everybody, it's again a subjective opinion, is things can be attainable, but are they actionable? Do you know the actions to make that happen? So, and then it's reasonable and then timely. They have to have a timeliness about them. And, all of these things have to be, the reasonable and timely are critical to make things happen. Now, when we're taking a look at New Year's resolutions, I resolved to do such and such. Do you have the behaviors, not just the attitude, not just the desire to do something, but the skill set needed to be able to execute on that? And are you reasonable in your model? And one of the things that my client earlier today was not, is he kept on putting everything as needing to move from zero to, well, people say zero to hero or zero to perfect instantly. And that's not reasonable. Yet, if you make it with incremental improvement, life is possible. A very short story is, I got a pull-up bar, like doing chin-ups, and I put it in my doorway. The reason for me doing the chin-ups was not, or getting the chin-up bar was not to do the chin-ups, it was to hang in the doorway, because that gives weight and sort of traction to your back and do that. But my feet never got off the ground, just hanging on the bar. So my knees are bent, my feet are still on the floor. It's never enough. I just about sent that back, and then a dear friend from a morning group that I'm in said, Blair, Dave Dremy said, Blair, very fit 60-year-old. He said, Blair, use the bar, hang there, and lift your knees up. And see about doing that, because that will give compression or decompression on your spine. It will be huge on your core, give you great core strength, and just see what you can do. Well, later that same day, I attempted that. I could not do one. Like barely getting my toes up to the point where there was very little pressure on them, but crunching, trying to figure out how to retract my legs was impossible. Now, a week and a half later, doing that 2 and 3 times a day. By the way, getting off that, just letting go of it, I could feel my abs, my side, my lats, like so many muscles in me that I didn't even know I had were being fired off. Now, fortunately, I kept it down, and in 3 days, I was able to get my feet off the ground and quickly do actually literally two very bad, no form, lifting my knees up quickly and dropping my feet back down as fast as I could. But just doing that. And then 2 days later, did three. Now I'm up to four a week and a half later. But I'm trying to do those like 2 times a day, just two of those. And it is crazy how sore my abs are. Well, it's not crazy sore, but I can feel my abs on this. And it was absolutely incredible. So incrementally making improvement, and it's ridiculously modest improvement. And the thing that my client loved today was when I tell him bad is better than nothing. I have no great form. I'm just hanging there, basically hanging on for dear life and lifting my knees up. I can't believe how tough that is. And so, whatever, I'm doing it. And
Yeah,
they,
one of my husband's favorite sayings is done is better than perfect.
yeah.
So, done is better than perfect. I just want to interrupt for a moment. Colin, Jackie's asked if it's possible for us to put closed captioning on this. Do you know,
I believe it is turned on.
is it turned on for her? Okay. She's requested closed captioning.
Yeah, I turned it on a while ago. I'm not sure if that is working for her or just for me. Can anyone else confirm that?
Yeah.
It's not for anybody else.
I just don't know how to get it on here. I don't want to interrupt the process though, but keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can do that for anyone else.
I have allowed closed captioning in this meeting and captions. So you may be able to turn it on for yourself, Jackie.
Okay.
Just
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Just go to the more button at the bottom and then it says captions. Click on that, Jackie, and you should be able to get it for you.
Okay. Let us know in the chat if that works. And thanks, Shane. But
Yep.
Blair, with your story, what would have happened if you had even started out saying, I'm going to do 5 of these twice a day? If that
Oh,
had been
they,
your starting point, would
yep.
you have, but to think of it or to say it, it sounds like that shouldn't be that big a deal. 5 twice a day, maybe
Um,
take you,
yeah.
less than a minute. But
My
yes.
girlfriend, Lori, has been working out for 8 weeks,
Mm,
and she's now able to do a deadlift of 85 pounds. I'm not
wow.
sure if I can deadlift 85 pounds, and that's awesome. Now, she's no spring chicken, but she tried to grab the lower part of the bar and up on her toes and do a crunch, like
Yeah.
lift her knees. She could not get her feet off the floor, which shocked me. Well, it was not shocked me because it was literally the same thing that I did. Like the first day that I tried it, I could not get my feet really off the floor for doing one. So it's crazy how that is. And so when you attempt and you make incremental, repetitive, um, attempts at something, all of a sudden you get a breakthrough somehow.
Oh.
Well, it's all your body learns, you grow some muscle, and you get better. Jeremy.
So you just said attempts, and I just was wondering, I don't know if this is part of the model, but I'd love to hear something about where attempts meet discipline.
Well, what I have to do, attempting something is different than trying. Um, when I'm hanging there, I'm doing something. I was trying to raise my legs. If I focus on trying and I can't do it, The answer to Patty's question is sort of, if I set it at 5, it would be going back in the box and back to Amazon because I can't even do one. Now, if I attempt to do something, I get my body in a place to do everything, and I'm stressing my body in the way that I need to in order to get my knees up and my feet off the floor. That's an attempt. Like I'm still attempting to do a decent one of those knee lifts. I haven't done one yet, but I figure I need to build enough strength so I can do 4 or 5 with repetition quickly. So I might be able to just do 2 or 3 with some reasonable form.
I was going to say, may I take a shot at Jeremy's question where
Please.
it was attempts meet discipline? Within the mind model framework, and Blair, correct me if I'm wrong, but within the mind model framework, we look at testing things, we look at the power of choice, and we look at what is effective. And instead of this sort of blind certainty that I'm just going to do this because I'm disciplined, and we evaluate, we look at what is reasonable on any given day. We look at what is effective for us, and that might also vary on a given day. So to stress the discipline is not as effective as just attempting to be effective on a regular basis, tracking your progress, keeping a journal so you have external verification of moving forward in an incremental way. But within the mind model framework, again, we like to stay out of certainty, and discipline takes us, that's that slippery slope into that. And then when we're not able to do those things, it's very easy to slide right into a lot of self-judgment. And we find that self-judgment is not effective. We like to evaluate what worked about that, what didn't work about that. What could I do differently to make that more effective? Did it work partially? Is what part worked and what didn't? And how can I make those adjustments? And when Blair's talking about his incremental things, those are incremental little tests. They're little micro movements, little micro tests that take us in a direction and build success upon success. Do you have anything that you can add to that? Oh, Colin, you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Jeremy a question, if that's all right. Jeremy, to you, what does it look like to behave to discipline?
Oh, great question, Colin.
Behave to discipline.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I'm going to take what I understood attempt to mean a conscious application of effort. That's my definition of attempt.
Yes.
So if I'm saying that an attempt is a conscious application of effort, the way I would behave to discipline would be to commit to that conscious application of effort on a daily or somewhat regular basis.
Okay. I love what you just said for yourself, and disciplining yourself to be able to do that is wonderful. The issue that I had with my client this morning, and most people, is they want to be in discipline and life gets in their way. And so they judge themselves as being undisciplined the second that life gets in their way, and they don't make room for life. So,
well, I don't mean to interrupt, but I guess was Colin asking me that in service to what you're saying, or were you asking me that for something else, Colin?
Oh, I was asking, yeah, to figure out what that looks like to you, because my experience was more similar to what Blair just said, and so I was curious if that's what it was for you. It sounds like it's like maybe different for you, though.
Okay, so then go back. Please, Blair, continue just because maybe I can comment later. But now that I understand what Colin was asking and what we're talking about together, maybe I'll loop back in if it makes sense.
Great.
Thank you.
And Jane, just jump in real quick.
Yeah, so my thought and comment or experience is that when we say self-discipline, we are, or at least for me, I am basically doing mindset in a different phrase. That's how and that's been my issue for Patty knows for the last 6 months, and mindset's not working. And desired results is still, I'm finding that it's a result that I need, not that I desire it. And therefore it's not working. So I'm still stuck. Rearranged my office and I open the door and I just don't want to walk in. I just don't want to walk in. That's all there is to it. And so
Right.
self-discipline is not working, period.
So one of the things that I was doing, which was very similar to my client today, was doing acknowledging wins because he perceives he's dealing with losses. And so he's had so many losses in his life recently that like trying to do something and can't be, it's not winning, is like all kinds of stuff. I don't want to get into details about him, but let's put it this way: relationship losses, family not lost in terms of people dying, but just not having the wins, and at work not being able to carry out what he would like to be able to do and what he used to be able to do because interpersonal challenges are happening in his life, and he's evaluating himself, actually not evaluating, he's judging himself against peak moments in his life when he did things brilliantly, and he's not anywhere close to a peak moment in his life. So when business was on, when everything was on, he judges himself against that and deems that he's poor, like, or doing a bad job. Okay, so with what Jane was referencing a little bit about
Jacqueline
not
just waved her hand,
oh,
or maybe not. I don't know why she
Okay.
did that. Sorry. I thought she wanted a butt in. Go ahead.
oh, she does in a second. Jackie, do you want to get in here?
You're muted.
Yeah, still
Yes,
muted.
please. The one issue I have with the word discipline is like you try once, you fail, then you're not disciplined. So it's like a no starter for me. That's just
Yeah.
for me personally. I find using effective and ineffective is much more easier for me to navigate because discipline is, in my mind, so cut and dry. It's not like it's not like the fact that you get to fail fast and fall forward, because if you don't have discipline, you do it first, you do it right, and you do it right continuing from there.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with the word
Kind of
discipline.
like an all or nothing, kind of like an all or nothing mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my stuff. I realize that.
Interesting.
So can I just pull back for a sec? So I came to understand that attempts was the word we were using at the time, whether or not that's the model or not. And I called that a conscious application of effort. And I think
Yes.
that was agreed that, okay. So
Up to a point, I wanted to make a slight modification to that. It's a conscious application of effort to begin a process.
okay.
It's not because a conscious application of effort is an attempt. No, the attempt is to begin a process towards a desired result.
Right.
Okay. So
And then
let me please, Jackie, let me just. So then we're not talking about over time. We're talking about the outset of whether it's an S-SMART or some sort of not goal, but desired result journey. It's the beginning of how do we get there? In the beginning, how are we going to get there from the beginning? We're actually not even how do we get there, but how do we start our journey to begin to move towards there?
That's what it's all about. That's what an attempt is all about.
Yeah, being able to continue.
Well, continuation can be done a little bit later. Like you've got to get started in order to continue. Okay.
Agreed.
So the key element here is how many attempts do most people give themselves statistically? Nope, it's actually lower than that, Jackie.
2?
Actually lower than that.
See,
It's literally the number. It's 1.2 attempts is how many tries people will give themselves before they quit.
Yeah, that's because I judge myself because I'm not disciplined, because I didn't do it the first time, or I was not able to get quite there.
And I'm not good and they say, I'm not good at this.
Yes.
And that's the judgment. As opposed to I'm learning how to move forward. And when we switch it into I'm attempting this with multiple attempts and I have a desired result and I don't have to hit that result the first time or the fifth time, what I have to do is keep on attempting and to notice the incremental improvement. And noticing incremental improvement was what it was this morning with my client. That's the breakthrough, as opposed to getting it all correct 100% of the time or close to. It's got to be well over 50% for people to go, oh, I can do this. So,
Blair, if you would thread into the comment that Brent made in the chat, I think it's timely.
So would that be trying rather than attempting to do something? No, I still stick, Brent, I still stick with attempting. Because the second that people switch to trying, in one area of their mind during that framework of trying, they can sustain that a little bit. But if they keep trying, as opposed to identifying the result, trying quickly runs into judgment because they've associated with trying with judging themselves. That's how come I stay away from trying and stick with attempts.
Blair, I'm curious.
So,
evaluation, not a judgment.
Do you think resolutions are more content-based versus process-based?
Oh, absolutely. They are completely like content based, and there is no process.
Yeah,
they are.
That's how come I love failing fast, falling forward, because I have internalized that so well to allow me to make mistakes and evaluate rather than judge and quit.
Yes.
So when I judge and quit, that was trying. When I'm failing fast and falling forward, I'm sorry, I can't remember, like attempting. I'm going to keep attempting to do something. I'm just pivoting each time I evaluate.
That's correct.
Colin
Blair.
had kind of a nice summary in the chat. Colin said, trying implies failure and attempt implies learning. So failing fast, falling forward, multiple attempts implies that you're learning something.
Exactly.
Because you're actually moving in a process. You're not staying stuck in your content.
Exactly. Brent, you
Brent,
were going
did
to
you-
say something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I was, because you were mentioned it was the people that make 1.2 attempts. What I would say would be tries, because essentially give up after one time, you judge yourself like I'm not good at it, I'm done. So that would be more trying than attempting because you're not learning anything to go to do it again. You're just
And there is a high
so
percentage of people, like, I don't know what those numbers are anymore. I forgot, I used to know, but a high percentage of people will look at something and saying, no, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
Like they just go, no.
Does anybody find that when they try to do something and they play it forward in their head, they don't do it because the outcome of playing it forward in their head doesn't work? Because they're projecting their past into their future?
Yep. And
Mhm.
whereas an attempt is open-ended.
It has to be in the here and now.
Yeah, but it's also when you play an attempt forward, it's open-ended in your mind.
Yeah.
Most people that's how come I pivot. I used attempts rather than tries. I love the Yoda thing. Do or
What is
do
the
not.
what
There
is the
is
what is the context of open-ended that you're using? I'm not sure I understand. I know what open-ended means, but in terms of furthering the understanding of what we're talking about,
when you are making an attempt, you have never actually failed, even when you're attempting.
that's what you mean when you say open-ended. Got it.
Yeah, because whatever it is that you attempted, you did as much as you could up to that point where you couldn't move forward anymore. And so I gave myself that very first day 3 attempts, and I couldn't get my feet off the ground. Yet, magically, my second day of doing that, on my first attempt to get my feet off my floor and up into the air, even though it was only a fraction of a second, I was able to do that. Prior to that, I couldn't even break the toes being stuck to the floor.
Mm.
And then I
So
go, oh, I have an improvement, an externally verifiable improvement.
I'd like to shift this to something
Yes.
that Colin had talked about a little bit. We talk about confidence versus self-confidence, and self-confidence being you identifying your own effective use of skills, attitudes, and behaviors. So part of this process of attempting is identifying your own effective use of your skills and the attitudes and behaviors when you're attempting and learning and attempting and learning. But Colin, those people that he referred to who don't even want to try, or can you speak to that a little bit, that sense of intimidation of actually achieving something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I like to think of it like fear of success, or there's kind of two sides to it. There's the fear of success side, and then there's also the fear of failure, and they can manifest in the same way, like we're just not doing something. And so um I think what you're referring to is I've talked about this with I've seen this a lot with clients I've worked with. So for those who don't have context on like what I have done a lot of, I've worked with people on learning and memory skills. And a lot of the clients I work with, they're adults. Um, when we dig into what they're struggling with, uh, maybe in school or something like that, uh, they had so many instances in which they were embarrassed in school because they tried something, it failed spectacularly in front of other people, their classmates, their teacher. It was extremely embarrassing for them, and so they developed this uh, fear of trying, right? Fear of attempting, really. Like, don't start a process. And so they have like that trying perspective that we've been talking about. So it's like, well, when I try things, I get burned. So I'm not going to try. I'm not going to attempt. I'll stick to the things that I know. That's a safe spot. Uh, what I found is also really interesting is you can have the opposite happen too, where people are terrified of the possibility that they might succeed at something. Because well, at least what I hear and talking to people, like where that seems to be psychologically, or like what's going on there is like, well, if I succeed at this thing, that might be the new standard that gets applied to me, and I'm not confident that I can keep that up. Like, if I get it right one time, it might be lucky. Um, but I might not be able to do it again. So I don't know if I even want to risk getting it right. So there's like that fear of success too. And so to get back to like self-confidence versus confidence that you're mentioning, they're not identifying their own effective use of skills, attitudes, and behaviors. If they were, they might not have so much fear about succeeding because they could duplicate it. And since they're not confident that they can duplicate it, because they're not observing that, they don't want to risk getting it right even once.
Yep,
Interesting.
so true.
Yes, Jackie.
Well, I've just thought about when my parents used to say, keep trying, you'll get there, you'll get there. Well, I didn't know how to evaluate. I didn't know not to do the same thing over and over and over again. So basically, all I was doing, and they were encouraging me to do, unbeknownst to them, was hitting my head against a brick wall.
Yep.
So it's very interesting about how I might structure things when I'm encouraging people to maybe somehow shift rather than,
Okay,
oh, keep
hold on.
trying, keep doing
I
it,
want-
keep doing
No,
it.
no, no. Can I fill you in? Like, because that's what I was doing this morning for an hour and a
Yeah.
half on my coaching call, is stopping somebody the second they said, well, I did this, but, and the second that they said, but, I go, okay, hold it. What is it that you just did? Well,
Mhm.
I actually started this. How important is it to start something on a scale of 1 to 10? And they go 10, because if you never start anything, you can't do anything. So it's starting is a 10. So even if the very next thing causes it to blow up and go sideways, you did one thing by just starting to make an attempt at this. You did something that is now a 10 out of 10. And they go, I never thought about it that way. Never.
Mhm.
I always judge myself because I was never able to get to the end. I didn't think that getting in, just starting, was a place to begin an evaluation. And I go, well, it has to be, because life is a process. Improvement is a process. It is not a single on-off switch. It's a process.
It's like when you're trying, it's like you're driving a car and you're in a mud pit. And you
Yep.
keep trying and trying, and the tracks are just getting deeper and deeper, and you're not getting any further, you're just getting further. But then you maybe try to adjust the wheel, or you put some weight in the back. Then maybe you might find something different.
Exactly. It's about finding alternatives and
Mhm, mhm.
becoming resourceful, not certain. And that's huge. Shane.
I got to jump off here. So, but I left a little deal in the chat. I can read it real quick. 9 for me. Great to see everyone. Blair talking about simple and specific, reasonable and timely. And I'm taking the incremental improvement into 2025. So,
Great.
Yoo-hoo.
We're so glad you're here. Look forward to seeing you maybe next week too.
yes, I will try. Thank you guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes,
May
Jeremy.
I? Thank you. So I just wanted to note that every time that I have spoken up, I've been encouraged and supported both by you, Blair, and in general. And I wanted to take maybe, I don't know if it's a couple minutes, maybe, I'm going to try to describe where I'm coming from as concisely as I can. In the interim past 2 weeks, by the way, this is my 9th time being here. I've been here every time except for, I came on October 22nd. I missed the week thereafter, and I've been here every other week you were here. And in the interim, I watched from 300 all the way through again. So I went back before the one that I was 317, and I even watched the whole, whatever. The point is that I was looking to extrapolate an understanding for myself of what is happening here and how I can get the most out of it and how I can be as great a contribution as I can. And what I was thinking about tonight, as I was now feeling a lot more prepared to be here, was, I think everyone, for the most part, has a lot more time doing this and maybe has some history, even having taken courses or having done some direct, through line of studying the mind models. Whereas this is more like a group discussion of the mind models. So from that standpoint, I was thinking to myself, what would be some core principles that would kind of help me understand the flow of the conversation? Because given that it's such sort of a group dynamic of everybody just chiming in and then Patty mostly often, if not Tim and Becky being the leaders of the evening, guiding it in some way, I was thinking, the one thing I would say, if there was a core principle that if you stuck to that understanding, it would help you understand why and what's happening in that flow of discussion, would be we behave to the meaning of words.
Yes.
Because if we said that was the core principle of the mind models and that's all you knew, that would help me. Now that I came to it tonight, it's helping me to understand, as much as the conversation feels like a ball that's bouncing all over the place and you're like, this isn't even a sport. Where is it going? How do you win? Is anybody paying attention? Like, if I know that we behave to the meaning of words is one of the most important processes, that says to me, that's why everything that happens on each one of the calls that I've been on, and for my understandings, from 300 to 326 is tonight, that's where it comes into play, because that helps me understand why Jackie gets so excited. Now, that's one of the reasons. I don't know. There's all kinds of reasons, but Jackie gets so excited and starts talking about so many different things, is because it's that sensation of my core understanding. I'm sorry, we behave to the meaning of words. My behavior towards this word is this, and Tim's behavior towards this word, and so on and so forth. So judging by the electronic digital adulation from two or more of you that I did see, I think I made a good point for me, and I hope that was helpful. Thank you. Appreciate the time. That helped me.
Yeah.
I'd like to check in with Leslie. So where are you with all of these things right now? What's going on for you?
You're muted, Leslie.
Oh, he was. No, you're still muted. Can't hear you.
It's not muted through Zoom, though.
Yeah.
There it is. I think it came in.
No, not
Nope.
yet.
No, not hearing you. But your camera is great. I just have to say, your
Right.
camera
I
is
think it's just
much
it's
improved.
it's the audio settings, not the mute. That's what I think it is, because you don't see the little
Yeah.
mute
Red.
icon to the bottom left of his name.
Does that work?
Yes, it does. Well done.
Thank you. I took Jeremy's comment to replace my camera, and after much ado and much greater expense, I retired my camera and got this going. And this is actually the first meeting I'm in that I've been using it. So
Well, we
that's
like
why
seeing you.
speakerphone wasn't working.
Yeah. Your picture is very, very clear.
It's a 4K camera. It's
Nice.
yeah. After $600, it's working.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Where
Okay.
am I?
go.
Where am I? I've heard a lot of things tonight that I haven't heard before. I've been listening and writing and absorbing more than having something valuable to comment on. The last thing I wrote was from Jeremy, behavior to the meaning of words. Yes, very much. We think in talking about core principles, one thing that I've gained most of all is, and through the help of Blair, on one-to-one sessions is that not everything is black and white, which I had fairly strong adherence to. Yeah, but there's sometimes a very large space between black and white that needs to be considered. And the whole value of mind models is that, yes, the meaning of the words are important, but just simply considering the differences between the meanings of the two words can put me into a different thought process and a lower stressed situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if any mind model pairs of words are coming to mind, nothing are other than the main ones that I've learned and sticking to, and that's the 3 E's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been able to stop and bounce those back and forth in my head at times and make a judgment to make an attempt to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeremy, do you have the 3 E's? Or Colin, can you put that in the chat? The little
I don't
list
have them
of them right
memorized,
now?
but I
That's
do
okay.
remember.
Colin will
I
stick
do
them.
remember that Shannon loved the fact that Tim had pretended that like some sort of, oh, actually, Shannon even talked about getting a stuffed animal of a flag because Tim mentioned that like the 3 E's are like waving a flag in a battle zone saying like do the 3 E's or something like that.
Yeah, she had something like that. There you go. Thank you, Colin. So I just want to make sure that we aren't losing you in our jargon. So, Brent, what's going on for you? Is it okay to come back to you now?
Yeah. So far, a lot of things are behaviors, coming down to behaviors, breaking it down to your behaviors, what you're doing, and evaluating those behaviors. So resolutions, like we spoke on that, sometimes it's too much. Like Blair stated, it's like the skills. Do I have the skills? Do I know how to get there? Is this reasonable? And it breaks down to the behaviors. Are you able to do that? Do you have to learn something? So you break it down, and then you can break those down further. What behaviors do you have to get your resolution? What behaviors do you have to work on or get to accomplish that? And then, that's where that comes in. So a lot of this is, you break it down to the goals, simple, specific, actionable. It comes down to those one few things, and it's the behaviors. That's the one thing I was gathering on, is the behaviors you have and the actions you take is what makes that happen or not happen. When we get to attempts, when you're making attempts, it's the behaviors you have to get there.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Jane, are you in a place to talk?
Yes.
I have a question for you, because we had talked a couple, I think it's 2 weeks ago now, about checking in with you on your office, and you are still telling us that you are still stuck.
Office is rearranged. It's in a much better configuration. But and I still don't want to be in here. I don't know what it is. I've put some pictures up on the walls, some pretty stuff. And I bought some curtain lights to maybe jazz it up a little bit, but I even put some flowers in here. Did some things to make it a happy place, but I still don't want to be here.
Have you been able to name and label what about it you don't want?
I don't want to do the work because I have to. actually, I have been in here. I've done a couple of other things. I contacted a couple of friends since Jackie's out of town. I know she's not really available because she's having fun. I started a Zoom meeting with a couple of friends, and we met last week for the first time, and we're going to do the 3-2-1, what 3 things worked for you, 2 things that didn't, and what things didn't change. And I also started a calendar that was supposed to be my write down, well, kind of track my 3-2-1 kind of thing. And I realized that, just it turned into more of a journal thing. What did I do today? So that I could look at it and stop beating myself up that it's not that I don't have things to do. It's not like I'm sitting around playing video games all day or social media and all that other stuff. This week is the house of COVID. Since last week, my oldest daughter came down with COVID, and then over the weekend, another one, and then another one. And so I've been playing, caretaker mom all week. So, it's like, but that's just it. That's where I'm trying to balance out. Am I just distracted because I have all these things that that need to be done? Or is it part of my excuse and why I'm not getting what I have to do done? And I just don't have the energy that I used to. I used to be the Energizer Bunny, and if I spend 2.5 hours out shopping for the groceries because it's not all done in one place, I get home, I'm tired. So, but I rearranged my office. It's in a much better configuration. I now have my file cabinets in here, so it's going to be easier to do the filing. But every time I look at the filing box, I just don't want to do it.
Well, suggestion, I get it. 2 things. Number 1, you stated that you have some things that you like to do, and you're doing them in there. You're having your meeting.
Well, my likes to are saved for evenings.
Great.
The need to get it done, whether it's housework, or I have a couple of medical procedures I have to do every day, and it takes 30 minutes each time. So that's a time thing that is non-negotiable.
Right. So my suggestion here is to, files are great because you can pull out a file and even a part of a file and go through that so that you can get it to a spot as opposed to plowing through everything. My biggest problem that held me up on clearing up my back room that I made a mess of when I moved in here 5 years ago, it didn't get addressed for 4 years.
Right. You said you hired somebody.
Yeah, I did that, but even before that, in order to begin to even to get to the point of hiring somebody, I had to go through some basic stuff. So really what it was pulling out one box at a time and going, okay, this is what it is. I also realized I'm lousy at organizing my own stuff. So, but I had to go through and see what I had. And I did that one box at a time. And then I hired people to actually organize me. So it's like, and I couldn't do more than one box at a time. So just acknowledging that and doing the smallest meaningful chunk. And what I do with emails and stuff like that is do 3 emails, 5 emails, whatever I have to do to get it done. And now I've hired Sent to organize my emails. So.
Oh, I even bought a timer. I don't know if you
Oh,
can
well
see
done.
this neat little cubey thing.
Yeah.
When you turn it up,
Sure.
it starts the time off, and I can use it. I do it on other things, but
Yep. That Pomodoro thing does work. So I really strongly encourage you to consider to transfer over to that on your
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I got it, but if you don't start, so I've written down a thing here that says think attempts instead of try. And so, I mean, I'm taking notes as usual, but I'm behind on I'm behind on doing, your videos and getting on YouTube and all that other stuff. I even got a calendar app that I thought I might enjoy because I could play with it more than just going into Google and doing stuff. And I realized, oh, I have a learning curve. Now I got to learn how to use it. Ugh, that's a whole nother project
Yep. I hear you.
in the works. Never
Yep.
mind. So,
Yeah.
but I have had some other successes, and I discovered that I was beating myself up, just like you said your client was doing. But when I looked over the whole year, I actually accomplished a lot last year. I mean,
Wow.
quantitatively, I did a lot last year. And I forget to give myself credit for that. And I had a successful conversation with my sister and was present and updated that she and I can talk for over an hour now, and I'm not gritting my teeth and wanting to get off the phone right away. So Patty knows that for Jeremy, I have had not a good relationship with one of my sisters for our whole life. We were too close in age, and you know how that can go. Anyway, using mind models and learning how to express my feelings through the feedback formula and whatnot. She now understands where I'm coming from and she's made changes in her own life because she realized that she also didn't want to sit around and fight with people just because that was what she was doing. And that, that's improved. So that update is like, whoo, 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 whoo. Doesn't mean I want her to live with me, but I can now talk on the phone with her. So I have accomplished a lot. But the one thing
that is the thing to focus on, not what is left.
Right.
Just chunk down the things because there's always going to be stuff left. Always. So I use life to sort through what is the priority and what isn't the priority. So, okay. And you make mistakes.
That's my update.
Good. Did
Thank
you
you.
want to turn that into a wrap up as well for tonight?
Yeah, I feel like you tailored this, again for me. I rewatched the one from 2 weeks ago when we talked about the IBER, the intention, behavior, evaluation,
Results.
And I even went through and did some research on statistics on success towards goals versus doing the IBER, and I'm still working on it, which is why I started this accountability Zoom thing. And that's one thing that's working, and my calendar thing is working. And so I have some things that I have that I can go, yay. Now I just have to choose my next one thing. What's not working and what's the one thing I want to.
Well, and staying focused on the two things that are now that you just stated that are working, and build off it, not park it. Your language parking your wins to find a new thing to win at. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was your language pattern that you just did there. You parked the two things that were wins and to go find the next thing.
Well, the timer, that's another win.
Yeah. If you can go, hey, I've got wins. I want to build on my wins and figure out what else I can win at as well.
So maybe adding to my funky calendar journal thing, add the wins off to the side and don't have that be a temporary thing, but a permanent thing.
Just wins, things that you're winning at. Because we park our wins so often that we don't even think we have them anymore, and then we just accept them all the time. Then we feel like we're not winning.
Okay.
Like I see Four
Okay,
heads
so
nodding yes.
I'm giving tonight a 9.25 because Leslie's here.
Thank
It's nice to see you, and thank you.
Jane, I have a question for you, and just other people maybe be thinking about it, because while we wrap up, I'm going to ask, what would you like to see us cover in 2025? Is there a topic or a subject that you have a particular interest in?
Can I get back to you on that? I have to
Yes,
look at
absolutely.
my
We'll
book.
ask again next week. So if you don't have something this week, we'll ask again next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. So Leslie, do you like to participate in the wrap up?
Yes, thank you. You can hear me?
I can. I can not only hear you, I can see you, which makes our lives so much richer.
I'll take that as 2 wins.
Yes, do.
A 9 again for me tonight. Learning lots, learning things that I haven't considered. Understanding the difference between trying and attempting, and I'm going to attempt to eliminate the word trying from my vocabulary.
Yep.
Yeah, toss it right out with the why.
Right out there with the why. I
Yep,
hardly,
right out there with
hardly
the
use that 3-letter word anymore.
why. And they're both 3-letter words, aren't they?
They
Anyway.
are, hey, yeah. Never thought 3-letter words could be actually 4-letter words. Anyhow, it was very valuable. It's good to be back and getting focused, starting off the year, and things are good. Things are good.
Great. Do
Looking
you
for-
have a subject or an interest that you would like us to explore in 2025?
I'm going to follow Jane's lead and
All right.
that for a more better response.
That's okay. We'll ask again next week. So just to consider it. Jeremy, would you like to participate in the wrap up? I cannot hear you.
I was
Okay.
saying, let me get my audio on.
Aye.
Yeah, so I am very pleased with myself in self-confidence because I put in the time to go back into the files, so to speak, and um, do the research so that I could fill in the gaps that I had with my own experience of not knowing, and also reading Becky's book so I could better understand and appreciate her, and Tim, of course. So that moment that I took to explain what I understood in terms of like the core principle is we behave to the understanding we have of the meaning of our words.
Yep.
That was a big moment for me because that brought me forward to a place where I'm not tentative about being here. I'm not tentative about the space that I choose to take up when I choose to participate. And I'm starting to concretize some understanding. And so tonight I was more present than I've been in any other night because I was none of the anxiety. If I'm gonna, I don't use the word anxiety generally, but let's just call it as a blanket term. None of the anxiety that I normally would have felt about like not knowing what was going on was at play for me. I was just listening and I was paying attention to everything everybody was saying, and I was incorporating it in the best way I could. So I also recognize that from the earliest beginnings, I had this thing about the rating. I'm letting that go. Tonight's a big 10. It has an easy beat. I can dance to it. I give it a 10.
Excellent.
Yay.
Thank you. Well done, Jeremy. Well done. Jackie,
got
are you
double
able
from
to
Patty.
participate in the wrap up? Jackie going once? There you are.
Hi, sorry about that. There's a lot of activity going on here because everybody's heading to bed. I am just so grateful to be here. when the little reminder came up tonight, I was just like, oh yeah, yeah. I was so excited. That's what I got out of tonight. And it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Just being here, having non-judgmental people talking about real stuff without censoring what they, well, it appears that people don't censor what they're saying. They say it from the heart and they're talking real. So that's awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. Where will you be next week? Will you still be in Colombia?
Ecuador, probably.
Ecuador.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Perhaps we'll see you then.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be here, I hope.
great. Brent, would you like to participate in the wrap up? And if you have any suggestions for topics going forward, love to hear them.
Yeah.
If not, we'll again next week.
Yeah, probably go again next week. But I know a while back. I don't know if this was last year or a year before. It was the barriers, blocks, and beliefs. I know it's been a while since we've hit on
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. And I know with
Mhm.
Jeremy coming in, it's something that
Yeah.
may touch on again with Leslie. So a little more deeper into that again. To identifying those and separating the two and what they're like and how to move around. Get over those and to identify them. Yeah, that would be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so your wrap up for tonight.
Yeah, it was exciting to get back. 2 weeks after a while, it's almost as if I was lost without my
I
habitual
know, I just missed everybody so much.
visitations of the Tuesday nights. So, but Jeremy, great work, man. It's a visual difference, and you can hear it as
It
well.
is.
It's
Yeah.
so, and you
There's
went
a
back through all those
felt,
videos. That's
yes, a
as if you
felt
went through those.
difference.
Yeah, as if you attended those yourself. So you gain all that knowledge and understanding more of what's going on and a grasp of what we're doing. So it was great. But yeah, I think give tonight, I'd say an 8 for me. The content was, brief overview of what to go through and what's working and working on the behaviors, making sure that's something we're looking at and behaving, how we behave to the words we use and evaluating that and to go forward to be effective. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brent.
Well,
Colin, would you like to participate in the wrap up?
I would. Thanks, Patty. First, I'll jump in with answer your other question about 2025. One thing I'd like to hear more of from Blair would be more about his experiences at Life Skills College. That's just such a unique life experience that you've had. All that time you spent working with those people, like, it's very few people in the world who can say they've had an experience like that. So I want to hear more about it. Um, as for wrap up tonight, I give it a 9 tonight. The conversations around discipline and realistic, a few different words, opened up some doors for me on thinking about where judgment is sneaking in through the back door and our language patterns and my own and people I work with. So that was helpful. And just the group dynamic, really enjoyed it. Jeremy, another kudos to you. I mean, that's what you did. Like Brent said, it was visible. I could hear it in your voice. Like you definitely made a change. You made a shift by doing that. So awesome. Leslie, it was really cool to have you on mic and camera this time. So the camera upgrade it was worth it for us anyway.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. Yeah. And Jackie, I'm glad you're getting to hang out in Spain. Looks super cool. It was
Colombia.
Spain, right? No, Colombia.
Colombia.
I was like, I knew it was Spanish speaking.
Medellin,
No, Colombia.
Colombia.
That's right. Someone else
Medellin.
earlier today told me they were going to Spain. But yeah. Anyway, yep. Great night tonight. Thanks.
Okay. Blair, would you like to participate in the wrap up?
Yes, I would. I had a fun night tonight. It was did not go as per scripted, but it went very, very well. So I like these. I like that engagement, and you were absolutely correct that this topic could go in many directions. So well done, Patty. Yeah, 9 for me tonight. Jeremy, it's been said multiple times. Thank you for digging in, doing all this stuff. I'm impressed with your diligence and your efforts. So well done. Leslie, great to have you in a way that we can see you and engage with you again. So that was awesome. So that's it for me, unless I do a rundown of everybody. But it was also good to have Shane back on briefly.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
We gave out PSRs last time it was the very last meeting of 2024, and Leslie was not with us. Would you have a PSR to give to him?
Absolutely. So yeah, just PSRs are planned spontaneous recognition. And this one might just be, or attaboys is another one that we call them. But the planned spontaneous recognition I would give to you, Leslie, is your shifts of what you've made over the last year plus have been nothing but spectacular. Like seriously spectacular. Especially if I take it back to when I first met you and we were working, you were working, I was working privately with you. It's mind-blowing to see the improvements. So that's huge.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was Blair's gift to all of us the last time, and you were not able to be here, was he gave everybody one of those. And so just wanted to make sure that you got your Christmas gift. Anyway,
It's a
for
wonderful
me,
recognition.
Well, you know what? It's wonderful work that you've done. So, and you're welcome. I'm pleased to be able to recognize you like that. In fact, I'd go so far to say honored. Because
Life-changing.
Yes, very much so.
It really is.
Yeah, it's yep. So anyway.
Okay, well, I will give you all my wrap up. For me, it was a 9. I enjoyed so many of the discussions, the attempt versus try, and I have my own notes scribbled down here. Jeremy distilling the principles of my models down to the fact that we behave to the meanings of words, which is really Blair, when he was creating my models, actually tested different words to see what people's responses were and what was most effective. How did people respond most positively or effectively to the words that he was using? And so I really liked that simplistic sort of overview of that whole thing. And so
It really reminds me that I don't say that often enough because I've said it many times. And I'm sorry, Jeremy, that I have not shared that more recently. And if you pulled that out on your own, that was great. Or if you heard me say that, that was awesome too, because it stuck, because that is one of the very few core principles is we always behave to the meanings of words. So sorry, Patty, for the interruption.
No, that's good. I appreciate you highlighting that and underlying it. I think just going over core principles would be a really interesting series to do in 2025.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's it for me. Colin, would you like to take us out?
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here tonight. It seems like we all enjoyed it. We all rated it highly tonight. So This was excellent. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, if you'd like to get all historical and ongoing notes for the Blair Dunkley experience, you can do so at blairdunkley.com/BDE Insider Notes. I'll pop that in the chat.
I
There it
have a
is if you're on the Zoom
question.
call. Hey,
How
Jane.
do we get to it? How do we get to it after we've already bought it?
If
Because
you
the link
bought
I
it and you,
have is to
okay,
buy. I'm sorry, what?
you might be in the same place that Patty was
Yeah.
at, because of your purchase some time ago of How to Rewire Your Mind for Wealth.
Okay.
You and I incent, or at least we're going to have to walk through a process to get you appropriately positioned in the software.
Okay.
So please bring that up, send an email and mention that it's likely the same thing as Patty, and she will likely set up a time and put that together. Yes, Jeremy.
So I just want to note, I mentioned this in the chat earlier, and maybe someone can correct me, but when you make mention of links or anything that's in our chat, that's only available to those of us on the Zoom call. The people who are watching the Zoom are not seeing any of that in the notes from the actual live stream. So I think if that's something that can be done, any of those links should be part of what they call the description on YouTube so that people can actually click on those links and go to these links that you're speaking of.
Okay, great. Thank you for the update and the reminder. Brent.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that thing you're talking about with Jane and Patty? I know mine as well. It's been older, so it's like two separate things. Isn't it? The websites are two
It's
separate.
not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a membership area, and where you
Okay.
get How to Rewire Your Mind for Wealth, and you have a second product. So all of the products that you purchase are all in a product library. So you can pick and choose where you go to.
Okay. I'll email sent as well to make sure I get that fixed. So I gotta
Okay, great.
I gotta go on two separate sites to
Mhm.
access them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I tried logging in before the Rewire Your Mind I had, and I couldn't get to it, so I had to make sure I clicked on the copy of the link that I was given to access it, so I could get to it.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
because it shouldn't be that complicated.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll double check again to make sure that if it's been switched or not. But yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, back to the outro here.
Back to the outro.
Great. Well, if you are watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, drop a comment, and perhaps join us on the live calls in the future. We'd love to have you. They happen every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, if mind models have impacted you, if they've helped you, improved your life, drop that in a comment or even record a little video testimonial. Those are extra good. I know I've recorded one and sent that in, or send an email. Where are we sending emails these days, Blair?
We can go to me, Blair at rewiringthemind.com, or to Sent. She's my VA, and it's Sent, SCENT, at rewiringthemind.com.
Okay, great. Well, there you have it. That's all for tonight, and we will see you next week.
Yes.
Betcha.
Buenas noches, Jackie.
Yes. Take care.
Okay. We'll see you all later.